Okay, after learning strings, in order to proceed, we need to know a bit about data types. This will be kind of a theory session, so I'm going to keep it as short as possible. Now, the main basic types of data types in Python are int, which is uh, signed integers of non-limit length. So it can be signed, that means plus or minus, positive or negative integers. Or it can be float, which holds floating precision numbers and is accurate up to 15 decimal points. Or it can be complex numbers. Apart from that, there are three special data types, okay, which are what do you call list, tuple, and dictionary. Now, what are all these? We'll understand soon enough. In other languages other than Python, you need to specify what type of a variable are you defining. So, in the last video, we did A is equal to stock name Reliance. So, A was a string, right? So, if you do this, okay, let's move on to our program itself. Okay, let's see how we can work with this. So, if I do A is equal to 100, if I do B is equal to 500.501, if I do C is equal to this, okay, if I do D is equal to, right? Now, I'm sure you guys know how to print. No, I don't think you guys know, but what you have to basically do is you have to use the type method to determine the type of the variable. There you go. Now, just like how you use the length method to determine the length of a string, you have to utilize the type method in the same fashion. So you can type this way, print bracket type bracket A. So how it goes is, and I'm going to do this for the remaining variables as well. There we are. So now if I were to run this, okay, it's asking me the name of the file. I'll name it datatypes.py. Okay, there we go. If I run this file, the first thing, A, the type of A is showing as int, which is integer. The type of B is showing as float. The type of C is a string, str, and type of D is a complex number, right? So these are your Python basic data types. So now we move on to special data types. There are three special data types in Python. One is list, one is tuple, and one is dictionary. So let's check out what these are. So I can create a list by just adding values in square brackets and separating them by a comma. So let's make a list of stocks. So stock list is equal to Reliance Industries Limited, Maruti Suzuki Limited, comma Minda Industries Limited. There we go. So now for this list, okay, I've added three variables in it separated by a comma. So these are the components of your list. Now there's one mistake which I've made is I've not added quotes to these things, because these are three strings that I've added in the list, right? Finally, we have a list of 3 strings. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, so here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to print the list. Okay, that is print stock list, stock underscore list. Okay, next, I'm going to print type of this. So print type of stock list, stock underscore list. There we go. Next, I'm going to print the length of this list, length of stock underscore list. There we go. Now let's see how this function runs. First, I print the list, so it just printed the list as it is, Reliance, Maruti and Minda. Then I printed the type of it, which is showing as list. And then I showed the length of the list, that is how many components are there in the list. Remember, components are separated by a comma, so it gave us 3. Now if you remember our last session where we had taken a string and then used the split method, okay, the output which the split method gives us is a list of the components of the string. Okay, so just to refresh your memory, let me write a string. I'm putting a string of car companies: Maruti, Mahindra, Tata, Ashok, Leyland, Eicher, Motors. There we go. So this is a string. Okay, B is a string. If I were to print split B, B dot split, and I want to split these on a comma. There you go. What do you think am I going to get? Here. So I'm getting a list, okay, because of this rectangle bracket. You know that it's a list of all these components separated by a comma separately, right? So if I were to put this in a list, okay, C is equal to this, right? And if I want to do print length of C, you'll come to know how many car companies I've put there. Length of C is 5. I've put 5 car companies here. There you go. So I hope you know now what lists are. Basically, it just enlists things, right? How another way I can make lists is I can give names. So A is equal to this. Reliance Industries, right? B is equal to Bharat Petroleum. Everything should be in quotes since all these are strings, right? There. C is equal to, yes, you guessed it, Hindustan Petroleum. Now what I'm going to do is I'm creating a list. D is a list of A, B and C. Now if I were to print D, obviously I'm going to get a list, right? This is another way of creating a list. There you go. So D is Reliance, Bharat and Hindustan. All these things, right? So this is a list. Similarly, I can create a tuple. So a tuple of D is equal to round brackets A, comma B, comma C. So if I were to do this, okay, and if I were to print D, okay, and if I were to print type of D, not D, print tuple D, and if I were to print a type of a tuple underscore D, which is just a variable I've added, I can put Ninja Turtle also out here, doesn't matter. But now instead of putting rectangular brackets, I've put round brackets. So now if you were to play this, it will put this in round brackets and it will say that this is a tuple. So a tuple is different from a list. Okay. So one data type what we studied was lists. The second data type that we are studying is tuples. Okay. Now for tuples we'll require a special video, so I'm not going to talk about tuples here. Just understand that these are different from list. These are put in round brackets, so make sure that you are sure of what data type you are adding where. And the third data type, the third special data type is called as a dictionary. Now excuse me, there you go. So these are dictionary. Now in dictionaries we create key value pairs. Okay, so it's key colon value pairs. Okay, this is what we create in dictionaries. Now these are very important things for things such as usernames and passwords. The key value pairs are separated by a colon. Okay, now the thing is that once you have created key value pairs in a dictionary, the value can only be accessed by the key. Getting it? So that is why it's very important. Now dictionaries are created using curly brackets. Now I hope you've got confused because I've got an example for you guys. So I'm creating a dictionary of stock price. So this is how it works. I'll put curly brackets. I'll put the key as Reliance, right? And I'll put the value as its price. There you go. I'll separate it by a comma. I'll put my second key as Adani Enterprises. There we go. Actually, let me add the NSE code as the key for simplicity. Adani End. Price of that I will add as this. I need not put quotes here actually for the price, so I'll just add a float number out here, right? So now I've created a dictionary of two stocks and their prices, right? Now the dictionary, the value can be accessed only by the key. So basically, if I want to access the price of Reliance, what I need to do is print. Okay, first I specify the dictionary stock underscore price, and then I put the key name, right? If I put print stock price Reliance, it will print the corresponding value which is there on this key. So the answer is 1331.05, right? Similarly, if I want the price of Adani, right? If I put the right key, it's going to get price. So it's 122. There you go, right? So this is how you access values in a dictionary. Now tuples, lists and dictionaries, they all are used for different purposes in life. We will have a separate session for each one of them to discuss where and how to use them, how to manipulate them, how to add more and more stuff to the lists, tuples and dictionaries and all that. So for now, I just need you guys to understand this. There are three basic data types that we need to know: int, float and complex, right? Then there is a type method which actually specifies what type the variable is. Then there are lists, tuples and dictionaries. We have discussed very introductory basic details about lists, tuples and dictionaries. We will discuss them in detail in our upcoming sessions. Till then, bye.